about non-audit function engagements. CAA could minimize the impairment to objectivity by using a third party to complete the audit of that area.
The PA 1130 A221 internal audit's responsibility for other non-audit functions. First, you have the allowances and restriction contained in the internal audit charter. Disclosures required by the standards. Audit coverage of the activities and responsibilities undertaken by the internal auditor. Significance of the operational function to the organization in terms of revenue, expenses, reputation, and influence. Length or duration of the assignment and scope of responsibility. Adequacy of separation of duties. Whether there is any history or other evidence that the internal auditor's objectivity may be at risk. If the internal audit charter contains specific restrictions or limiting language regarding the assignment of non-audit functions to the internal auditor, then disclosure and discussion with management of such restriction is necessary. If management insists on such an assignment, then disclosure discussion of this matter with the board is necessary. If the internal audit charter is silent on this matter, the guidance noted in the points below are to be considered. All the points noted below are subordinate to the language of the internal audit charter.
Connection to the common impairments, the sixth one we have the consulting services. Internal auditors may provide consulting services to areas over which they had previous responsibility, but the auditors must still act in an independent, objective manner. Any potential impairment to their independence or objectivity must be disclosed to the engagement client before the engagement is accepted. Here are assurance services in previous consulting areas. It is possible to provide assurance services in areas in which the internal auditor previously performed consulting engagements.
Standard 1130A3. The internal audit activity may provide assurance services where it had previously performed consulting services, provided the nature of the consulting did not impair objectivity and provided individual objectivity is managed when assigning resources to the engagement. Standard 1130C1. Internal auditors may provide consulting services relating to operations for which they had previous responsibility. Standard 1130C2. If internal auditors have potential impairments to independence or objectivity relating to proposed consulting services, disclosure must be made to the engagement client prior to accepting the engagement.
Perceived impairment. Objectivity must exist in both fact and appearance. This means that the internal auditors must avoid even the appearance of impairment. CAA disclosure to the board. The charter sets out two responsibilities that the CAA has in reporting independence and objectivity-related issues to the board.
The first one is the CAA will confirm at least annually to the board that the IAA is organizationally independent. The CAA will need to make certain that the IAA maintains its organizational independence at all times. The second one, we had the CAA will disclose to the board any interference in the IAA determining the scope of work, performing the work, or communicating the result.
So the policies to promote objectivity. The first one we have. Job assignments should minimize potential conflict of interest. The second one. Jobs should be periodically rotated so that the relationship do not develop between the auditor and the auditee that might impair the auditor's judgment. The third one, we have a strong QIA-IT will help ensure that the organizational independence and objectivity are part of the culture of the IAA.
The Product Advisory 1122-1. We have the individual objectivity involves the chief audit executive organizing staff assignments that prevent potential and actual conflict of interest and bias. periodically obtaining information from the internal audit staff concerning potential conflict of interest and bias, and impracticable rotating internal audit staff assignments periodically. We also have review of internal audit work results before the related engagement communications are released assists in providing reasonable assurance the work was performed objectively.